Welcome to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy is a veteran U.S. Navy SEAL, a former protective officer for the CIA Global Response Staff, founder and CEO of the Able Shepherd Program, a husband and father of 4, and a personal friend of mine. Now here's Jimmy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. I'm your host, Jimmy Graham. Got BK running the show back there. What's up, BK? Getting a double thumbs up. Awesome. And now we got special guests. What's up, guys?
Hey.
How's it going, Jimmy?
I got Jimmy and Laura. Jimmy is Able Shepherd 230. Laura's 239.
Yep.
And you guys were talking to Parker. We were looking to bring some people on and get some of these stories. We got amazing people. You guys know that. And you I believe you made a comment about something about it, what Able Shepherd has done for your marriage.
That's right.
And that's not the first time I've heard that. I've heard some people come through together. Some people, their wives, they're like, I'm thinking about stopping Able Shepherd. They're like, no, you're not, because you're a better dude when you come back, right? Mm-hmm. So something that you said to Parker, and then he was like, podcast, or maybe you mentioned the podcast.
I might have, yeah.
And he's like, Abby, we'll call you because we were talking about that. Yeah. So I've said this before, and this makes all the sense in the world. Best part about this program is people, right? So I can see this being a thing where we're talking to people and getting their story on backstory, how we met them, and if we had any little influence for the better, man, it'd be cool to hear.
Yeah.
It'd be cool for people that follow us to hear.
Yep. It probably shocks everyone, including us. This was good for our marriage.
Well, we've got a little, and that's good, right? Like,
it's a good story.
You guys follow Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
We do.
So I've heard him say that and get emotional about it, but I really connected. It's like, if you're being yourself and somehow that helps someone, maybe even saves them, there's nothing better than that. There's nothing better than me just trying to figure out this whole life and, answer a call that I get from God, and somehow I help somebody. And then they tell you, and you're like, man, I'm in. Yeah. I'm totally in. Because I'm just trying to, I tell my kids this, just a guy trying to make it from breakfast to dinner and pursue this thing. And you hear somebody like, hey, that helped me. I'm like, really? Me being me helped you? Super cool. So I'm dying to hear it. So Jimmy, I'll give it to you. Let's just get rolling.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So, Laura and I have been together, been married for 29 years in May, been together for 30 years.
July 4th.
July 4th, 30
congrats,
years.
guys.
That's right, yep. And, I'd say like every married couple, we've had our ups and downs, right?
Sure.
Because that's kind of how life goes. But I think, for the purposes of kind of our conversation today, there's two sort of major events that we had happen in our lives that affected our marriage and somehow actually brought us to Able Shepherd. So start off way back, I'm from Florida, she's from Oklahoma. We met and married in Oklahoma, went to, as one does in Oklahoma, got to go to premarital counseling before you can get married.
And a blood test.
Yep. And then exactly. So we're in our premarital counseling, and our pastor says, we're talking about our pasts and those kind of things. And he says, I think if you ever get the opportunity, you should move away. You should move away from your families because there's a lot going on there.
Yes.
And we kind of filed it away, didn't really think much about it. And I think maybe it was later that night or later on, we were talking about it and we're like, if we could get away, where would we go? And somehow we both landed on Denver, Colorado. And I think you landed on it because of ski trips that you had done.
My high school graduation gift was a ski trip here.
And I landed on it because I did a mission trip in Durango, which is not Denver, for sure.
Yeah.
When I was like 15 or 16, and I was like, man, that place is beautiful. I'd love to go back.
Yeah.
If Durango was that pretty, Denver's got to be prettier, right? Whatever my thought process was.
Yeah.
But somehow that was
Sure.
where we landed.
Yeah.
And so we get married, 5, 6 months, maybe. My boss calls me into his office, and he's like, I have some good news and some bad news. Good news is we're starting a new management training program. We want you to be a part of it. The bad news is it's in the middle of Wisconsin. It's like, oh, that is kind of bad news. like, okay, well, how long? And he's like, well, there's a little good news in that too. We think in 2 or 3 years, that whole operation is going to move to Denver, Colorado. And so we were like, I was like, okay, I think I could do that. obviously we talk about it. We're both on board. And so we get from Wisconsin to Colorado, Colorado, Oklahoma to Wisconsin.
Yep.
Stay there for 3 years, almost exactly to the day. And in 2000, move out here. And as we were leaving, we had some friends at church, and they said, oh, by the way, we have a friend in Denver who's planning a new church. And this is his name, his contact info, name of his church. We're like, great, sounds wonderful. And you know how when you move, especially moving across country, you just get so wrapped up in the move, you get wrapped up in everything else that's going on. Completely forgot about the church, all that stuff. We went to the Christian bookstore, and back when they had the church directory that you would flip through, and we're
Find
like,
a church.
we're like, no, we're not Presbyterian. No, we're not. We're trying to find something. And Laura stumbles on one of the little ads, and she's like, huh, that's weird. I'm like, what? And she says, the name of the music minister for this church is the name of a guy that I went to college with. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? She's like, but he has a very interesting name for a man. And so, like, okay. And she went to a small college in Arkansas.
900 folks.
So, it was probably that person. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. What's the name of the church? She says the name of the church. And I was like, oh, I think that's the church that our friends told us about. So I go back, look it up in my email. I said, what's the name of the pastor? She told me the name of the pastor. I'm like, that's the place. That's the place we were told to go. So we're like, well, I guess that means we have to go to the church, right? We have to at least try it.
Yeah.
Whether we like it, whether we don't, doesn't really matter, but we have to go. So we went, and obviously loved it, right? We knew immediately that was the place for us, and where we wanted to plant our church roots here in Colorado. And so as time went on, we were meeting in a school, and ultimately, as a ministry, you want to be able to grow beyond that. You want to be able to get beyond just the reach that you would have for 2 hours on a Sunday,
Sure.
right? And when we started that particular part of the journey, we did get really involved. We got heavily involved, right? Laura's an excellent singer, and so she got involved in band.
Thank you.
I started leading. I started doing small group stuff.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and so we were all in, and it was great. I don't remember kind of how all of the timing sort of played out, but
We had a baby.
we did have a baby in there. Yep,
And we dedicated the baby.
that's right.
And then they asked us to co-sign.
Yep. So we went through this process where we knew that we needed a building, right? And so we needed to figure out a way to fund that building. And as a part of that process, we ultimately ended up co-signing on a $1.2 million loan to be able to afford the building that we wanted.
With other families.
Correct. So there's 10 other families that were involved in that process. And what was it, 4 or 5 months after? So when our son was born, he had several health issues, fairly significant. And so we were dealing with that. We're still dealing with life, dealing with all those kind of things. And, ultimately, at some point during that time frame, the pastor came to me and he said, we're taking this to the next level in terms of building out this building, and we need governance, and we need church leadership. And I want you to be one of the elders of the church. And, I saw that as obviously a great and righteous honor. And, so we talked about it, we prayed about it, and ultimately decided that was the thing to do. So we get in the building, things are going along pretty well. We still have these families that have this commitment on this loan. And he decides one night to call together us as the families of the elders and announces that he is going to divorce his wife and that he is going to remain on as the senior pastor. And obviously that didn't sit well with us. But, unfortunately, it's one of the first times, I think, in our marriage that we found ourselves on the opposite side of where, really on the opposite sides of how to solve a particular problem.
Yep.
And, I'm happy and humble enough to say that I was on the wrong side of that decision. Laura was on the right side. And it's a tough thing to admit, but, ultimately that problem got solved. He stepped away from the ministry. We were able to get an interim pastor. We were able to get a senior pastor. And that senior pastor's first Sunday was our last Sunday at that particular church. And in that process, a lot of turmoil, right? And there was one very, very specific night that, I know we both remember, where we were at small group and got into an argument at small group.
Not awesome.
In front of all of our friends.
You two did.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. Our son was young, and we were the church was trying to process this change. And as we got into the conversation in Bible study, it got pretty heated.
Yeah.
A lot of people on different sides of that conversation. And Jimmy and I ended up on the different sides, Team Jimmy and Team Laura, which wasn't great.
Nope. And that specific night, we parted literal ways.
We did. I went home and packed.
Yeah.
I packed our son, and I packed my stuff, and you went to hockey.
You went one direction, and I went another direction.
Yep.
And, that's hard to admit. Right?
Yeah.
Fast forward 10, 12 years later.
Oh, we stayed together in case anybody.
Yeah. No, we're getting
That's
there.
good.
We're getting there.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I don't know where you're at in your
Fast
story. Okay.
Laura and I are working for the same company. She's working for a female boss. I'm working for a male boss. Two of them are a couple. And as a part of her responsibilities, Laura's responsibilities at that particular time, she discovered that her boss was mismanaging funds. And so she went through the proper process and turned her in. Investigation ensues. We don't know all of the specifics of the investigation, what was said, but at the highest level, basically, our understanding is that they went to the man and said, hey, we know that your fiance is doing these things. She's going to be terminated. You can stay on board, but you need to change some of your management practices. He says, because he says this to us later, you mess with my family, you mess with me, I'm going to quit in solidarity with my fiance. So we thought, great, that's the end of it. 3 days later, maybe, she gets an email to her personal email address from this person. And the gist of that email is playing on a lot of our faith, right? Him talking in this process about how God is never going to forgive her for what she did, and that she's hurt all of these families, and she's done such a terrible thing.
I'll never be able to sleep.
Yeah, all those things. And then, you know, a couple days after that, like a voicemail, a weird random voicemail.
He left me a voicemail at work.
Exactly. And we're like, this is going to go on. This is going to keep going. So we do the right thing, get a lawyer, and, you know, lawyers walking us through, we're talking about, like, this person is harassing us. And she's like, yeah, I can kind of see that, but, you know, in a criminal case, right, the burden of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt. And in a civil case, it's only 51%, right? Just the preponderance of the evidence has to point to this being the case. So we're like, we don't really know what that means, but okay, you know.
Here's some money.
Yeah, here's
keep
some
you
money.
on retainer.
Yeah. So he starts this campaign,
Yep.
right? And it is a literal campaign of harassment.
It's a psyop.
Via email,
No.
and, like recorded
So-
stuff? Or
Everything.
So
It's coming.
this goes on for
Some weird stuff.
Yeah, this goes on for 18 months.
Yeah.
And I'll give you some highlights of some of the things that happened. So all this went down in April, March, maybe. In July, we come home one Saturday afternoon. It's a package on the front porch. I pick up the package, I look at it, and I'm like, this is a place that we frequented, but I knew that I hadn't ordered anything from there, and I knew that she hadn't ordered anything from there, or I was pretty sure. So I walk it in, I'm like, did you order this? She's like, no. I'm like, okay. I had a feeling,
Yeah.
you know. So we open it up and pull out some women's underwear and
I wondered how you were going to approach this. I'm so sorry. I didn't know how this was going to go.
you're just going to say it. And a note. And this note is written to make it look as though I'm having an affair with a coworker. And
Named the coworker.
Exactly. And I accidentally sent this to my home instead of to wherever I was supposed to send it.
Your girlfriend. They were
Exactly.
specific.
Exactly. So we look at each other and
This
we're
went
like,
to a whole new level.
Yeah,
we're
we're
like,
like-
whoa, we're not ready for this.
we know where this came from.
Exactly.
We do know where this came from. We call the store. We're like, because now we're doing our own investigation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're private detectives now, essentially,
Certified.
on our own retainer. And so call the store. We're like, hey, we think you accidentally sent us something that was meant for someone else. If we give you a tracking number, can you tell us who sent it? And they're like, well, it would have come from us, but give us the tracking number. I don't think we even listed like the first 5 digits. And they're like, nope, that
Not
didn't
it.
come from us. That didn't come from us. We're like, well, what if we send you pictures? Could you tell us if it actually came from your store? And they're like, yeah. So we sent pictures, and they're like, nope, that absolutely, none of that is our packaging, none of that is us. We're like, okay, we know who it came from. Send that off to the lawyer, right? That's July. Let's go to November. November, Laura's scheduled for pretty significant surgery. So she has surgery, and it's about 7 o'clock at night. They're wheeling her into her room, and my phone rings. Pick up my phone, and it's him. It's his name comes up. I'm like, why is this jerk calling me right now? Obviously, I didn't pick up. Let it go to voice. I don't think it went to voicemail because immediately it hung up, and I got a 2-factor authentication request from Google saying, you're trying to log into your Google account. Here's your 2-factor and I was like, I'm not trying to log into my Google account, but I bet you he was. So he had gotten my username and password and was about to hack my email. It's fine. It happens, right? What he ended up doing was created another email account under a similar email address to mine and sent her an email that said, "I'm thinking of you. I hope you're doing well. Love,
Jimmy.
love JR."
Yeah.
Or something, yeah.
And
Oh, it was James because that was your code name that they used for you,
yeah,
which
so
isn't your name.
I'm like, I know this is clearly him. It's clearly him, his friends, whoever. But all I can do is turn it over to the lawyer. Hey, here's another piece of evidence. I didn't send this message to my wife because I was right next to her side all night. So that following March,
Dude, I don't remember these dates.
March or April.
I try to forget some of this.
Yeah. She has another surgery scheduled, and she's working late because she's trying to get ready to go on medical leave, getting everything squared away. And I pull into the driveway, and I see something on the front porch. And immediately, I'm like, this crap again. I knew it wasn't an Amazon package. I could tell it was something. And I'm like, okay. So I go into the house, let's go to the front door, and I open up the front door, and sitting on the welcome mat is a dozen black roses, and sitting on top of that is a voodoo doll.
Wow.
And that voodoo doll had pins in all of the places where Laura either had surgery or was about to have surgery. So just a mind game to say,
Wow.
I know what's going on in your life. Like, just crazy things. 18 months, that kind of stuff went on. And that's just a couple of highlights, if you will. One night in October, just sitting on the couch, watching some TV.
Recovering from I don't know how many surgeries, 6
Right.
at this point. Yeah.
Watching some TV, doing whatever it is that we're doing. And Laura starts getting texts from a coworker. And he's like, hey, this person is texting me, and they are a little out of control. And he starts screenshotting some of the things that he's saying. And in that, he says,
I'm going to kill you. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for your daughter. I'm coming for your wife.
Yep.
And Laura's next.
Yep. Tell Laura I'm coming for her too.
Yeah.
Nobody is safe. Kids, wife,
Dog.
dog.
Why'd the dog?
Yeah.
Poor dog.
And then sends me a similar text.
Mm-hmm.
We're done. And then I don't answer, and he's like, you're not going to answer? It's about to go down for real. So, okay, I guess it is about to go down for real. So, these are real death threats. He ends up making a phone call to the coworker who fortunately records that phone call and gives it to Douglas County Sheriff. That's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have this information now, right? And we know it's him. So we're able to give that to the lawyer. And she's like, okay, here's the paperwork that you need to fill out. I'll meet you at the Douglas County Courthouse. We get there on a Friday afternoon at like 3:30, get all of our paperwork in order, get in front of a judge at like 4:30, and even the lawyer is saying, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, it's late on a Friday. If it's somebody I know, maybe things go well, or we say the wrong thing and maybe they don't. Ultimately, we got a temporary protection order. And that's what we were looking for right there, right? It's a temporary protection. Because we thought a piece of paper would keep a bad guy away.
Yeah.
But different story, right?
Yeah.
So we get the temporary protection order. We serve it to him finally on a Wednesday. There was a lot of commotion in between. Serve it to him on a Wednesday. Saturday night, he is seen at the coworker's house, and on camera, you can see his car sitting in the cul-de-sac, speeds away. About an hour later, he appears in the cul-de-sac behind our house. he's seen by a former law enforcement officer who later testifies that she saw him there that night in violation of that protection order, right? First time. Second time, December, we finally now have cameras up around, and we have a little walking path by the side of our house. And he comes strolling up the walking path. He's got his head down. So I call Parker PD. I'm like, dude was just here. I have video footage. And, you know, they're like, yeah, you do, but can you see his face? I'm like, I'm telling you, it's this guy. Because he had a very specific stature, he had a very specific gait. And they're like, I believe you, but I can't, right? Because we can't see his face. So now, twice he's violated a temporary protection order. So at that point, we're like, we need to figure out how we're going to take care of ourselves. And ultimately, there's another big, long story in there that is not super exciting, but we get to the point of finally getting the permanent protection order.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
So everything that went to Douglas County was actually admitted by, and he went through a criminal trial, and the DA did drop the charges. And we obviously were not allowed to represent ourselves during that particular situation because that's the DA's job. So we were disappointed because we do have a protection order under that type of criminal charge.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then when that was released, that's when we sought the civil side.
Yep. And so going through all that legal stuff, all that crazy stuff, there was that moment of, we need to know how to take care of ourselves. We need to figure out how we take care of ourselves. So I think we did what everybody does, which is we went to Cabela's. We asked for the Cabela's special, which I think is a Glock 19 and a shotgun, right? That's,
12 gauge.
That's basically, those were kind of our options. And so we're like, all right, we have it. And, you know, we go to the range, we check it out. And we're like, all right, these things work. We know what we're doing. We didn't know what we were doing, right? So we started to realize that we needed more training. We needed something else. We needed something, maybe level it up a little bit. So we started off, we took classes from War Poet, John Lovell.
John Lovell, directly, John Lovell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was our teacher.
That's cool.
Took a couple of classes from Fieldcraft Survival.
Yep.
And it was through one of the classes at Fieldcraft that happened at Empire Gun Club that Kyle Howard, Able Shepherd, whatever his Able Shepherd number is. Sorry, Kyle, I don't remember. But, you know, he after class, we were just chatting with him. You know, he explained to us he owned the range, and, you know.
Did you guys trudge through the swamp for that one?
Didn't have to trudge through the swamp
did
for
not.
that. That happened like right before.
Okay, when we did a special event out there where we're going through the mud, we're setting up those shots. That was
Yeah.
awesome. That was epic.
So, you know, we're talking, and he's like, you know, what brought you out? You know, why are you interested in the classes, whatever? And we start to tell the story and tell him about some of the things that I was just telling you about. And he's like, you need Able Shepherd. And we're like,
Now.
what's Able Shepherd? And he tells us. And we're like, oh, I think you're right. We do need Able Shepherd.
That's awesome. Thanks, Kyle.
Right?
I think we signed up for POP as soon as we got in the car.
Pretty much right after that,
Yeah.
I mean, very soon after that. And obviously this in itself has been a journey, right? The Able Shepherd journey. Of you know, starting off thinking that you know something and realizing, oh, I'm not as prepared as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
I need to level up. I need to skill up. And so, you know, going through the classes, going through the program, there's a lot of like common language that we use. And, you know, I think it's helpful for a lot of reasons. Obviously, you know, somebody being able to say one or two words and you knowing exactly what those things mean, right? But there's also some of that we've taken and applied to just applied to our marriage, right? And how we interact with each other. So I kind of came up, I sort of thought through it, right? And had like sort of there's four things that kind of have a deeper meaning for us.
Yeah.
So the first one, together, right? And we know what that means in the program, but for us, it's a reminder that we're doing life together, right? And we're doing it shoulder to shoulder, right? This is the way that we're going, and we're taking care of each other's six, right? We're not only moving this direction, but we're watching out for all of the other dangers, and also realizing that the times that we do get pulled apart, we've let that happen, right? We have let the enemy get in, or we have let someone or something get in between us. So just a reminder to stay together and not fight. We're not fighting face to face, right? It's not about what's happening here. It's all the other things around us that are trying to attack us, right? Second thing is saying thank you when you're corrected.
Oh, this is my favorite.
Safety violation. So, you know, I don't think there's a lot of things more dangerous in life than handling firearms, right? But as I was thinking about it, you know, when's the last time that any of us said thank you to our spouse whenever they corrected us? And part of that to me is being open to coaching, right? To be able to say that, you kind of have to humble yourself and say, oh yeah, I did do something wrong. Or, you know, I didn't do something the way that I was supposed to or that I intended to do. And so I think it's important that we remember that that's how, like our spouses want what's best for us, right? If you hired a professional mentor or you had a coach in high school, right, and they told you to do something, or they said you need to change this, you wouldn't go, no, I'm not going to do that. But I think we do that a lot of times with our spouses.
Sure.
And they're the ones that know us the best, right? Like it seems it's very counterintuitive.
Yeah.
So that's number two.
So you said that's your favorite.
It is.
Same reasons, or is it connected, or what?
Definitely the same reasons. I did not love it at first when we started incorporating this language just in life. We were no longer in the sim room, no longer on the range. And we would run into a bump, for instance, just in a decision we needed to make. And Jimmy would say, we're going to do this together. And whatever happened along the way, maybe the process or the plan didn't go very well. And he would say, hey, I think we need to do something different. And I'd be like, oh, really?
Do you?
Well, I liked the way I was doing it. And it started to move into I need to be more open to this when my husband is trying to lead. He's trying to lead. We talked about this in the custom class that Parker did. He's like, Laura, why are you covering Jimmy's zone? I don't know. But Jimmy is capable. Yes, he's capable. And I was struggling with that trust and being able to trust him that he would cover his zone. That was huge, but it started to move into our everyday life. So when he would say something I needed to do differently, he's always gentle and sweet about it. Not the same. Working on it, always a work in progress. And I would struggle to say thank you. Yeah. But now it actually is at work. It's with my friendships. I had someone tell me today they didn't like that I took my nail polish off in the break room. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you was not a normal response I would have said. I would have fought and been defensive and been like, it's a break room. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
And that's it's just a different mindset of am I relational here or am I going to be right? I want to be relational because this is going to last. Winning a fight is not going to win anything.
Yeah. So we had two separate things just to piggyback off of that. One was somebody wanted to use the range, right? Like it's free. Well, it's empty, right? So it's free. So
Of course.
so shouldn't I be able to come in there and make money? I mean, we're all in this together. You know, like that's actually $700 if I walk in that building on a slot that I'm not. You know, so it's not free. But it wasn't that they asked; it's the way they asked. It was kind of nasty. So Seth's like, "What I put on here?" I'm like, "Right, thank you." And he's like, "That's it. That's it." Like we can sit there and try to educate this person, but they didn't come across. They didn't come here to be educated.
Right.
Thank you. Right. And then today, we posted a video with Parker doing some stuff, and there's a bunch of old salty, CQB guys that are like, "Oh, what is this? This is, we've never seen this. What's this swivel move? Whatever." And I thought about it for a while, and I was like, "Don't even, if you said show me the way to do it, they would show you something silly, and you'd show them that it's not safe or whatever." And I've done this a minute. I've done this for a bit, for 20 plus years, and seen a lot, and I've landed on what I believe in. So between classes, between runs, I wrote, "Thank you." Felt like all these people, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." This is it. That we're all jacked up and they're all so good, and I just went, "Thank you." ... See you in class.
Right?
Yeah, because some people are like, "This is awesome. This is so cool. Oh, I see where that comes from. Oh, this is Jimmy Graham. Oh, background, whatever." And they're like, "This is so stupid. I've never seen this, and I don't understand why would you do that. This is the dumbest thing ever." So to all of them, thank you. See you in class.
And I know people
The
are
end.
watching. They're watching how you respond to that kind
Sure.
of push on your character.
Yeah.
And you know
Yeah.
your stuff, and it's hard to say, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
You're
Or like
right.
we said,
I can
with
do
the
better.
Able Shepherd thing's not a small achievement, and there's over 300. Where are your 300 that not only can do this, like, in unison, we say uniform, safe, and accurate, but it's stuck around long enough if you're just kind of a jerk. You know what I mean? If I was a jerk, you wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? So it's so many things meshing together. By the way, it's the part that spoke to me in all this stuff I've done was this. It was that protective, it was the tactics. And I really like doing it for the case officers because they weren't the knuckle dragger. They just know it all. It's not even fun to teach, right? It's cool. It's rewarding because you can save a dude's life. It's just not fun. So to be able to do what I do with people like you guys and raise a family, pretty good deal.
Yeah.
So.
And I do watch other able shepherds and the way that they interact when you get a safety violation and the way they respond. And when we were younger, less mature in the program, we watched and we could see, is this character?
Yeah.
And we are building character and a capability.
Yeah. Exactly. And you guys probably know this. I don't know if you do or not. I've removed people from this program. I'm like, we say
heard.
the hard conversations make the next conversations easier. So I'm gonna talk to you, and we're gonna warn you. This is how we do things here. Then maybe a second time, the next one is you don't train here anymore. Do you understand me? And then we don't say them again.
Dude, we made it.
No, well, we say this all the time. It's easy to set a standard. It's hard to defend one because it's not comfortable defending a standard. But then I say, hey, guys, remember the language, the this, the that. You're pursuing this young lady, and she doesn't want all that stuff meshes together. Now I have to step in and say, okay, we've talked twice about this. This is the last one.
Right?
Goodbye.
And it's a standard that you're holding.
And then people appreciate it, and they're like, I don't believe you did that, because they don't. Sometimes you can't tell the whole story, and you're gonna have to trust me because this is like messy, dirty stuff.
Yeah.
And Skip used to say, the guy with the big hat. That was my job. I had to set people down and do the uncomfortable thing, and like this is my livelihood. It's my home. It's not even my business, his business, and I'm the one that's gonna defend this standard. And some of the stuff it would just be in poor taste to share it publicly because it would make it worse.
Right.
So I'm like, you're going to have to trust me because I got to make a call and it's none of your business.
Right.
But then we just keep on going.
That's a blessing.
Amen.
Trust your partner. Be trustworthy.
Don't cover Jimmy
Is that number
Riddle's
3?
zone.
That is number 3.
Yes. Yes.
So, taking it back to the earlier story, right, about the church split, about us almost falling apart, right?
Yeah.
It took a long time to build that trust back.
Yeah.
And, it's like everything, right? You have to continue to build on it. And it's not always perfect, right? I mean, we still have these times where that may fall apart a little bit, but ultimately, trust your partner, be trustworthy. And then The last one is, I guess it might be the second time that I get emotional this evening.
You were emotional.
I did get a little emotional earlier.
Internally.
Happy Valentine's Day, baby.
In my heart. In my heart, not on my face.
I'm ready.
Stay in the fight, right? Your spouse is worth it. Your marriage is worth it. Kids are worth it. We stayed in the fight.
Yeah.
We stayed married. It wasn't easy. But here we are. And it was worth pushing through all of that. Pain, discomfort, doubt. I have it written here because it's for me. Pride, selfishness, past trauma, all that kind of stuff are all things that can hold you back.
Yeah.
But it is worth fighting for. Your marriage is worth fighting for. Stay in it. Be in it to win it. You know, like you always say,
Winner takes all.
winner take all.
Yeah.
Right?
Amen. Love it. So I'm gonna take a second because we talk about this because there's a certain vernacular, it's tactical application that they're not going to know, right? So some people in the program. So I've taken your segments and we can just keep going and chiming in, but that together, that T360, like you guys learned that. T360 means together 360 degrees. If there's a separation, and now we're talking, close quarters situations, you're in there. If there's a separation, if you're together, you guys can shoot anywhere. You can put a bullet anywhere in the room.
Yep.
But if you separate, you can't shoot this way, she can't shoot this way. So if a door opens, you're firing towards each other. So that's taking that concept and saying, what popped in my head when you said that was, Gladiator. And when they're in there, they go, I don't know what's on the other side of these doors. We're going to be better off if we do this together. And then it opens and it's just nasty and whatever, crazy heads. They go out there and get after it. But that's what that means. And you guys have just taken that and said, hey, we got each other in different areas. It's like, if we get separated, we don't stand a chance. This marriage doesn't stand a chance, and that's beautiful. This is doing good for me, as I was talking about earlier. It's today, Rachel and I were sitting on the couch of a trusted older couple, and we were listening. And that's the way it should be. They've been through it. And now their words are helping us because we're in it. It's like, I'm saying this and you're not hearing that. And she said, well, I'm saying this and you're not hearing that. We're like, that's not good. Right? It's like, I'm, remembering things, misattributing, putting words in people's mouth is not healthy times years, right? So this is helping me, so I appreciate it. That thank you, being better at saying, and this is where what they're talking about is that when we're reading a safety brief, a lot of times in this industry, you get a safety brief, like once when you become a member, and then good luck and you shoot for 5 years. And you're like, I don't even remember the rules, right? I saw them 5 years ago. We do it every single time. So before you load a real gun and go into the range, we're going to go over a safety brief. And if someone corrects you on a safety-related issue, the only appropriate response is,
Thank you.
thank you. Like, it's like, back in the teams, we used to put our gun in our mouth. What? That's not true, but it's
I
like I don't
thank you
care
way
about
better.
the teams. It's like,
Right.
well, in the Corps, we used to do that. Well, you're here now. So you're going to do it safely or you're going to go home, right? So it's like we're all, trustworthy. We're all know what we're doing. It's my job to make sure that there's never somebody bleeding out on my floor, right? So if somebody says something to you, the answer is thank you. And then stop doing it, right? Or else we're going to have to ask you to leave. And it just doesn't happen because everybody's got that mutual respect. And I can't see, what's going on behind me. So you guys, part of your job is seeing what I can't see.
is.
Right.
Let me know and just, hey, this is safety is everybody's job.
And I think that applies in marriage too, right?
Yeah.
Like part of our jobs is our partner can't see what they can't see.
Right.
And so we are supposed to be the ones that say, hey, there's something going on over there. Maybe we should take care of it. Maybe we should address it together.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
And you said, about being humble and pride and all that stuff, being honest. And I had a friend tell me this recently. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate you. And she is, I don't know if she's a counselor, a mediator, what she is. And I'm like, I can't believe this. I was talking to Rachel and I was listening. I'm listening. That's not easy for me, so I'm just not talking. I'm listening. She's going. She goes, okay. What did you hear? And I'm like, can I answer? And she was like, yeah, what'd you hear? And I told her, and she goes, we're at a restaurant, and she goes, I can't believe that's all you heard. I'm walking home. And I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a minute. And then I'm like, what is happening right now? I just told you what I heard and I got it wrong. Blah, blah. She comes down a little bit. We start talking. I bring it up to my friend, Jordan, and she goes, just maybe consider, have you ever said, I don't know. Can I think about it? Can I get back to you tomorrow? And I'm like, I have never said that once in my life. Like, I don't know. Like, who says that? You know? And I'm like, and truly, I didn't really, it would have been better to really just park there and not just what I heard, but what was she trying to say? What was her heart saying?
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, I heard your words and I heard you say this. And she was like, ah! And like, that was not the time to say words.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe just, can I think about that? Can I pray about that? And then can I get back with you tomorrow? And then just enjoy our dinner and do that. But yeah, I didn't do that. So that's good. So you said trust your partner, partner be trustworthy. So in an entry situation, when you come in, you both look in the same door, and then my job is to go left, and until, this is called a primary sweep, until I visually see that corner, right? So there's nobody in my section. I'm not coming in to attack the room. I'm only doing my 51%. That overlaps with your 51%. So if we're like this, and it's me, Laura, I go in and I see, if I need to shoot something, shoot it, but I need to go to that corner to make sure the most dangerous part in the room, area in the room, is clear. Primary sweep is over. Now I come back with secondary sweep until I'm back here. You do the same there, primary and secondary. So if I come in and instead of going to mine, I go into yours that you can clearly take care of and saying, I don't trust you.
That's it.
I don't trust you to clear your primary sweep, secondary sweep. So primary, secondary, on me, take a step. That's how that works. You do primary, secondary. If you beat me, you say on me, take a step. When you say on me, I would pick up your 6. If I say on me, you pick up my 6. We walk across the room, we do it again. That's pretty much entries, right? But if I am in your zone, it means I didn't clear my corner.
Correct.
I might have just killed us both, right? So we say, trust your partner.
That's right.
Partner, be
Yes.
trustworthy.
Yes.
Like if you're not doing your job, I'm gonna not look at mine because I don't trust you, so I'm gonna watch yours.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna give up mine. So it just
How
falls to
did you
pieces.
know, Jimmy? You weren't even in that custom class. Parker was like, I saw what's happening.
Yes.
Don't do it again.
Yes.
And it was we talked about it on the way home when we debriefed after that custom class. I do recommend it for couples because we're going to wake up in the middle of the night. There's going to be a bump. We have to figure out how to figure it out.
Yep.
And I won't be able to call. Well, I could probably call an able shepherd. We know one real close.
That's it. Just
But-
like you just close your eyes like this, and, go, and like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and we just show up. We're just there.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he knows who he is when he listens to this. But he also has a family too, right? So if something's going down, we need to be able to be counting on one another.
Yeah.
And when Parker said that to me, it was just like a jolt through my system. I was like, oh, this goes way deeper than just this class and this moment.
Yeah.
This is deeper, and I had really to pray about it a lot, and needed a lot of grace. You're good at that.
Thank you.
That stay in the fight. Like we'll see people. Maybe they shoot and they throw a thing and they're like, and it's like stay in it. You'll be like stay in it, and then they have to absorb the fact that. And I love Jason 86er Jason Campbell. When he first did this, it's become written down. It's in the curriculum now. He throws around and he just failed the test. It's like boom, it goes off and he goes, that's good data. Just breathe. That's good data. I pull left and fail tests. Awesome, But it's like he's not mad at anybody. Here he's mad at him. But now you got to stay in it and then finish this test, knowing that it's not. It's like, but yeah, now you're testing something different when you're ticked at yourself, and you're still focusing and going through the motions, and then you go through it and then you dissect it and say that's how you get better.
That's right.
In the shoot house, same thing. Somebody rounds a corner and somebody goes, help! And they're so amped up, they go, pow!
Yep.
And their head drops to the floor. You see their whole countenance sink like this.
do.
I'm like, stay in it! And they gotta go, look, and go right back to it because your team's counting on you.
Right.
You made a mistake. Roger that, we'll talk about it. Finish the run, right? So that not giving up. I love one of my favorite quotes. I hope I don't butcher it. Let me think about this for a second. And it was on the plains of hesitation lie the blackened bones of the countless millions that at the dawn of victory laid down to rest, and in resting died. It's Adlai Stevenson. But it's like, if you knew you were at the dawn of victory, you would have kept going, but you never know. So I said, what I took from that is not don't rest. It's don't make a lifestyle of resting. You always get back up, period. There's not even an option to give up, right? So, and that came out today when Rachel and I were talking about this. We're like, we're not giving up. Like, this is not an option. You know, it's like, I will never, we say it this way, it's probably the most important thing we say to each other. Look, I'm not going anywhere, ever. Let's just figure this out. This isn't fun.
No.
And she's like, me neither. But I agree. This kind of sucks right now. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's make it not suck. You know,
Right.
what do we got to do? Let's put it.
We have to figure this out.
Yep.
Stay in it.
Yeah.
Stay in the fight.
Just-
And if it makes you feel any better, we had that exact same conversation yesterday. Not about any of this, but he's like, we got to figure this out. It was last night.
Yeah.
It's like I'm like, yeah, I don't want to figure it out. This is terrible. I hate
yeah,
it.
and it's just
can
real.
Can we
It's-
avoid it? We can't. We have to figure it out. Face to face is where we were, and we need to be back to back on that situation.
Yeah, and then winner take all. You know that the saying in this that everybody knows in the program would be this. Well, one, what is protection? It's self-defense, and now step in front of somebody else, right? So if this was the situation and you're facing me, what you're saying is to get to Jimmy, you got to go through me,
Yep.
right? And that means in order, spiritually,
Yeah.
mentally, and physically. But to get to him, you got to go through me, and it's winner take all. So that'd be me standing in front of my daughter and saying, if we have to fight, it's the winner gets her. You'll fight differently when it's for your loved ones, right? It's
We
not
learned
just
that
like
yesterday.
it's not just a scrap where you're just doing that's correct. And you said this is different because you
Oh,
guys
man.
came in, did family training.
We did.
with yourselves, your father, and then son.
My son, our son, yeah.
And it's different when you're going in to rescue your family. You're like, whoa, this feels different.
It did.
Right?
Stakes,
Person
absolutely.
linking to you is your
It's
son.
my
right?
son.
Or
Yeah,
your
it's
dad,
my dad.
right?
It felt different.
Yeah. And
Oh
that
my
was,
gosh.
that was
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But it felt different. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is real.
Yeah, and you see people, do ladies' classes, advanced, do all this stuff, and you'll see it change when you go to get to them. They got to go through you, and you go, okay, but it's winner take all. Winner gets your daughter, and you see people go,
Yeah.
"What'd you say?"
Yeah.
Like, I will stab you with this pencil. Like, all of a sudden, somebody's like, teachers or my wife for that matter. It's like, I'm not shooting you. I'm not stabbing you. But come on, what are we talking about? Well, winner gets your daughter. It's like, give me those scissors.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
Yeah.
Winner gets I leave here with her. Do you understand me? That kind of thing comes out, and sometimes you need to find that button. Awesome. And that is so rewarding to hear that we start this thing, and it's so funny that I started this thing like, man, let's just teach people how to shoot guns so they can protect kids, and that's what we thought we were going to do, almost like a security guard training, police training, and that's not who walked through the door. It was couples. It was people saying, I've got children and I'm not sure how to protect them. I got, the Cabela special,
Right.
but I don't know how to use it. It's like
Exactly.
it's in the closet, and I think I could maybe not shoot me, but that's about as far as that goes or whatever. We had a guy that I know, and I won't say his name. He went to his house because he'd shot for like 50 years, maybe 40 to 50 years, and there's a real call for his house, and he comes into the house. He grabs his .44 Magnum and he cocks it, and he walks into the house, and he's clearing his house because he believes that somebody just robbed him from a snowmobile. Anyways, he comes in, rounds the corner, and he cracks a round off into his tile. And it dawns on him that moment, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing right now, right? It's like, roger that, and he walked in the front door of our old location years and years ago, maybe like 12 years ago or something like that. But it's just honest, right? How would you know? You shot cans at the river. How would you know how to clear a room?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then it's beautiful to see, even with you guys, the confidence that has come with, hey, let's go learn how to use our Cabela special. And, then it's like, well, okay, maybe we get one of these, and we get one of these.
Yeah.
And now to see you guys going through a shoot house and cover on me and do all this stuff. And now with a team, not just you guys, a team, or to go get your family yesterday or to do all that stuff, and you leave like this, and you're always so happy and smiley. I didn't know anything. I knew a little because you shared something, but it was a gift. In a way,
We did not know it.
Yeah.
And how much God would use it, and I don't know that we could have seen it in that moment.
And you never can, right?
Yeah,
you
that's
can
right.
never see that that kind of pain or drudgery or whatever it is that you're going through. Hindsight's 20/20, right? It's not until you get through that fire that you look back and you realize, oh, look at me.
What's happening right now?
I've leveled up.
Yeah.
I've made it to that next level.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through that fire.
And the book of Job comes to mind, and I've got like 50 t-shirts. I don't know if I've told you guys this, like designs. So when we launch our apparel line, I've got like 50 ideas.
Nice.
Some of them awesome, some of them not so awesome. But one of them, and then some of them are kind of a twist to make you think, like if I asked you, who breaks the pause?
The one who opens the door.
One opens the door. Like everyone, who doesn't know that?
I need
But
that.
now people walk up and
need
go
that.
like, what is this shirt? Who breaks
Right,
the pause?
right.
You either start teaching a class on entries and you go,
You
okay,
do.
somebody opens the door, who touches the doorknob? Well, that's the person who breaks a pause because there's got to be a trigger, and then you go in together, right? Or somebody walks up and while you're working at it and they go, What opens the door? You're like, ah! We know
That
what's
happened
in
at
there.
Sierra.
Yeah,
Did it?
It did.
I forget.
I can't remember his
and
name.
this was we were somewhere midway through the program, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I see him walking out, and I just happen to turn around and see the back of the shirt, and I just yelled, "The one who opens the door!" And he turns around and he's like,
Yeah, Able Shepherd, baby! That's awesome. That's so awesome. So my new shirt, one of the new ones, says "Get a job,"
Oh.
and it goes ... I recommend 29, and they're like, "You recommend 29 jobs?" I'm like, "That says Job."
"Yeah,
Because Job 29 lists when Job is
Nice.
lamenting about what a man is, and when he was in his prime, what he lists is, when I walked in, he's kind of remembering, when I walked in, the young men got out of the way. Like the old men didn't talk. The royalty covered their mouth because he was so respected. He was so awesome and all that. And I broke the fangs of the wicked and plucked the innocent from their mouth. And I comforted the widow, and I took up the cause that wasn't even mine. I just helped people that weren't even, people dying blessed me, like all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know one dude like that, including this one. This is amazing, but I'm in. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be that. Well, if you know the book of Job, his wife even says, "Curse God and die." You're like,
Yes.
"Thanks, babe."
Yeah.
Right? I was like, really?
Support.
Really?
Thank
Right?
that is
you.
not together."
Yeah, right. So this is the most squared away guy you've ever seen, and God trusts him. It's his guy. And then if you know the story of Job, he doesn't curse God. And then God says, "You stand there like a man." Like if God ever says, "Brace yourself like a man," you better put your mouthpiece in, right?
Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
But at the end of the story, he makes him way better. Like, what's way better than Job 29? I don't even know what that looks like, but he did.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have picked that. Right, even your wife's going at you, which is cut you to the bone,
Oh.
right? But he holds fast. He doesn't give up. He stays in the fight, and then everything gets even better. By the way, all his kids he lost are in heaven. I mean, they just talk about who he was and who they were. So it wasn't this whole horrible thing. It was a blessing, and then he was way better than that. I can't even fathom that.
Right.
You know, so that's fantastic. But okay, before we break, what's up with the Nordstrom Rack parking lot?
No. So I do normally park. I combat park, so I normally pull in. But one day I was in a hurry and I pulled nose in, and I just saw a gentleman that looked a little sketchy, and I just immediately that situational awareness was like, something's not right.
Yeah.
So I went around the back of the car and I had the door between us. I of course needed to finish shopping because that makes sense.
Yeah.
And when I came back out, he was still there, and he was looking at me through the front window as I was coming around the back of the car. I wasn't about to walk in front of him, in between me and the car. And I came back around the back of the car, and he just looked at me. I could only see one eye because he had a hoodie on, and he started shaking his head like this at me. I was the only one standing there.
Wow.
I was prepared if needed. And instead of doing what I would have normally done, I immediately threw my stuff in my car. I got in the car, I locked the door, I turned the car on, and I just acted like, okay, I can do this. Normally I would have freaked out. I called Jimmy on the way home. We have a code word. I gave him the code word of that I'm okay. But he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm coming home. I mean, it's not a big deal, no big deal. So that was one. And then when I drove up, again, shopping. I'm going to stop shopping.
You're like, it was life and death, but they were on sale. So here's the deal.
Something
You should have seen,
is
if you'd have seen
wrong.
the shoes, it's worth it.
There were two dudes this time, and they did look suspect to me, but not as creepy as the guy that had his face hidden. And I think they were more just, I don't know what you would call them other than homeless potentially, and eating. So I went into the store. I went around the back of the vehicle again as far as I could, swung nice and wide, got into the Nordstrom Rack, and when I came back out, there were 3 police officers. The lights were on, and they had already cuffed one, put him in, and they were cuffing the next one. And the police officers were great. I mean, they were looking around, they were watching me. I felt very good to see that, and it felt like, okay, we're okay, but still, agreed, what is happening? So just, your PSA, maybe not a place to be shopping.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
Awesome.
That's it. I did not have to draw.
That's good. That's good. You didn't have
I
to
also
bury
called
anybody
Jimmy
that
on
day?
the way home. No.
Barry's like, Jimmy's like, now what is it? Like he's
Like
got the
Nordstrom
bag
Rack.
at the door. Is it
Yes.
Nordstrom Rack again? It's like, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
I saw your Life 360 going to Nordstrom Rack. I've already got the air loaded. It's like,
I love it. Yes.
awesome. This is fantastic. It's such a blessing, especially, with Rachel and I working through our stuff. It's just normal stuff, and that's what we're talking about today. This is normal. Let's just figure it out. So it's so great to hear that kind of what we started and what we aspire to do
Yeah.
here is making a difference in people's real lives.
It is.
right?
It is
So-
making a difference.
So thank you. I'll give you guys the last word.
Oh,
And then we'll wrap it up.
I
so
hope you have it.
soaking this up. Anything last just hanging there?
I don't have anything other than, thank you. Thank you for answering God's call
that's right.
and building the program up and building it in such a way that we're not just uniform, safe, and accurate, which is fantastic, right? But there's a community here, right? And there's people that we know that we can reach out to if we are struggling.
Yeah.
And whether we're struggling with life stuff or struggling with, whatever it is that's going on, we know there's people that we can call.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. Amen.
And the community here, after they've heard any part of this story that we've shared, and we shared a lighter version of it, some have heard darker versions of it, unfortunately, they've all been so supportive and just, hey, here's my number. You call me if you need me. And we did not have that.
Yeah.
And I do remember the night that the stalker violated the restraining order, and I think I mentioned this to you. We called for the police backup, and they said, we'll be there in 3 hours or so. So for those we do need to take care of ourselves. Yeah. We are the ones that are going to be there. On this, the second violation, they told us we had to hard point, stay where you're at, tell us where you're at, and stay there. And we waited. And it was traumatic to know our son was many rooms away from us, and we couldn't get to him, and we were talking to him on the phone in our own home. Stay where you're at. Mm-hmm. And that's disabling.
Yes.
And to know that I can't protect my own family here right now, and the threat is here, 12 yards from my back window, and I can see him. Wow. And you're telling me to stay still.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that next time.
Yeah.
We're going to work on that, but I don't have to. But we have a capability, and we know what to do, and we're going to make that plan.
Yeah.
And thank you for believing in us and giving us time, not only in the class, but as a couple coming to you going, hey, we got this thing. It's really weird. Nobody's ever been through this, we don't think. And we don't know how to deal with it.
Right.
And
right.
helping us find a solution.
Yeah.
A solution with the capability you are teaching. That's beautiful.
Amen.
And God's in there.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. So for one, you're welcome.
Thanks.
And number two is we're just getting started. This is going to be so awesome. Like, I can't wait till we get our home. We've talked about that with the expansion. Yes. Getting that home where people are just flowing through the doors. And I mean this. People are going to come to Denver. Best money they ever spent to fly to Denver. Mm-hmm. Just get some of this strength and everything that means, and then take it back home with them and protect their communities. And I can't wait, right? Because this community, when you get 300 plus people to that level, we've trained thousands, but 300 plus to that level, what do you do with them? Well, you bring them in and you help them. You use them to help one teach this stuff. And this is a little bit early. We have we have coming a security company under the 501c3 that is going to protect children here locally. So 4-hour shifts.
Pick me!
We will. I mean, literally, it's going to be like, hey, this is the deal. You need to commit to a 4-hour shift and protect, particularly in Christian schools, that's where we're going to start, but we're going to protect children so that number isn't like, hey, we're busy. A lot of times there's a police officer assigned to a location. When things get really bad, they have to leave.
They do.
By the job, they leave.
Absolutely.
I'm like, that's when you need them. That's not okay. So, as you know, for Able Shepherd, regardless, and it's called T360 Security, they're there. If things get really bad, they get on their phone and more people come. So it's not you're leaving, more are coming, right? Because they got a coin in their pocket when they show it at the screen on the thing, let them in, they're with us. So that's a big, big deal, especially when it comes to protecting our future. So
we have to.
Amen.
We have to.
Thank you guys.
Thanks. You.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
And guys, so amazing to be a part of this. It's absolutely fantastic. If you don't know anything about it, please check it out at ableshepherd.com. It'll barely scratch the surface on what it actually is. If you get a chance, check out YouTube, and I'll just what comes to mind, go to YouTube and check out Intro to ITB. It's this community pouring into these young people in the mountains, and one of them's my son. I get emotional and I don't even care, but it's that good, and it kind of shows our heart, what we're doing. So check us out at ableshepherd.com, or just better yet, just come in and see us. But until we see you again, God bless each and every one of you. We truly love you. Take care of one another. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again for another episode. Please be sure to follow us and support us on all of the social media. That's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. All of that starts by visiting ableshepherd.com.